Hey all, it is Wednesday, July 3rd in the United States and Canada. It is, we'll say noon, and it is What Chaos presented by Prize Picks Daily Fantasy Sports. Made easy. Use promo code What Chaos for a first deposit match up to $100. We are still remote. I am DJ Bean. Pete Blackburn is to my right, and Sean DePaz is right like in the middle. A small little middle screen thing that he has going on. And he's right in the middle, and
also,
and that
Pete is to the right of the screen, but he is always to your left, physically speaking, spiritually speaking. I guess
I would say that Pete is to my right politically. I'd say I'm a little more of a lib than Pete is.
I would say that that's true. Yeah, I'm certainly not like on the right, but I'm more to your right. That's because you're the softest soy boy that's ever existed.
I was like, I guess we can have Hillary as a president, and Pete was like, it's just that she's a woman.
Yeah, 1,000%. That's
kind of where we were in 2016.
I tweeted yesterday. I tweeted yesterday like a hockey thing. It was just basically like, hey, Jacob Trouba, like please be nice to his wife. And don't turn her into a villain. And somebody responded, like, I bet you voted for Joe Biden. I was like, oh my God.
They were right.
Nice.
Classic Biden voting energy. We'll talk about that. Fuckers making us sympathetic to Jacob Trouba. Don't ever do that again.
I know. My God.
Hockey does that, though. I forget, we were talking about that with somebody the other day where a contract was so bad that we were complaining about a player. Don Sweeney did that to me with David Backes. I loved David Backes in St. Louis, and I was so mad when he signed David Backes to such a bad contract that for years people were going to be talking about David Backes like he was a fucking bozo. That's what hockey does to us.
That's what we always talk about. Like that's always the narrative around Seth Jones. Like we love Seth Jones. We realize he's probably like a little bit overpaid. Same thing with Darnell Nurse. Same thing with like Jeff Skinner.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. That's why I fucking love it.
That's why we're here today.
We're going to talk about Jeff Skinner quite a bit, but going back and listening to the clip from, what was it, Monday's episode, post free agency, talking about Jeff Skinner, where he might land. You were not so sure that he was going to end up in Edmonton. I didn't know, but I was so into Edmonton. You seemed a little bit hesitant just for the sake of, because you know where Jeff Skinner goes, I go. That's where I pledge my loyalty. I don't know if it's because you didn't want to. I don't think it's because you didn't want to share Oilers fandom, because I think that you do want to share Oilers fandom. But I think for the sake of the podcast, I believe that you wanted to kind of spread the love around and not have it all be so concentrated on the Oilers. He goes to the Oilers. I'm an Oil man. It is official. I'm officially an Oil man. Where Jeff Skinner rides, I ride. Edmonton Oilers. I'm there this season.
Well, a peek behind the curtain, there were points this season where you would ask, are we doing too much Oilers talk? And Sean and I aired on the side of, and listeners don't want to hear this, and you're going to disagree and you're going to be wrong, and this is going to sound like we're a bunch of pricks, but the shows need to talk about what interests them the most and what gets the most passion and energy out of them. I aired on the side of, we're not doing too much Oilers talk. I understand we're doing a ton of it. And Sean aired on the side of, we have to talk about the most exciting thing. And I'm sorry, but every day the Oilers are the most exciting thing. And it wasn't like a tough sell on you. You weren't like, I don't want to talk about the Oilers. You were like, hey, let's just make sure that like we're not alienating anybody or anything. So for your sake, I was like, I don't think Pete knows what it really means to be an Oil man. Because even if we weren't talking too much Oilers, I would have fucking lied because I'm an Oil man. And I would have been like, no, let's talk even more Oilers. So I definitely am not afraid to share being an Oil man. I'm famous in North America for saying it's always nice to see another Oil man. I'm going to be showing up to work every day next season, seeing another Oil man. We're going to be walking in, like checking our hats at the door, hanging them up. You're going to be wearing bean boots for some reason. It's going to be terrific. So
I'll tell you what, I am 100% getting a Jeff Skinner Oilers jersey. It's going to be
white.
I don't know, because I have the blank one. And I feel like it would be very funny if I turned the blank one into a Jeff Skinner jersey.
Would not be accurate though, and I don't know if you. No, you're an accurate boy. Yeah, you're an accurate boy.
That's true.
People are going to see that and say fake.
Fuck, you're right.
Fake. How much that cost?
Maybe I get a white. And I think to get a white Skinner jersey would be very funny for the sake of the podcast synergy.
It would be big time if you know, for us to go hit the town, head into the Peachtree dance wearing a couple of white various Skinner jerseys. I guess that's a good place to start. I should note that this is our last regular episode for a while. This is our last, hey, this is when we know what Chaos is on. We go at noon, sometimes 11:59, although it's the postseason's over, so always noon. This is when we go to our proverbial cottage. So we're still going to be making videos, and we're still going to be doing stuff, and we're still obviously going to be having episodes, guests, shit like that throughout the summer. But this is our time to breathe, as is it for you. But we had to do this episode, even if remote. We're both, Pete, you still sound sick, even if you're trying to cover it up.
Fuck. No, I feel great. Like, I don't feel great, but I feel almost 100%. So, and I know that I sound sick, and I just feel like a tiny bit congested. It bums me out that you can hear it.
Yeah,
I can force myself to be 100%.
I'll be honest, I can hear it. I can see it a little bit. Yeah, you're not totally there. We know when you're your best. We certainly know when. I was talking to a friend who, Katie Nolan texted me the other day. She said, if you do a show tomorrow, Tuesday, she said, if you do a show tomorrow, I would say I'll kill you, but I won't need to. This has been, I've been hospitalized with sickness before. I've had pneumonia before. I've had, fortunately, none of the big ones. But I've lived a human life, so I've been very sick before. These past few days have been the sickest I've felt, and all I've wanted to do is just like maybe even a little bit of content, and that probably made me a million times worse. The way I see it, I can operate at 60%. I often do operate at 45%. It's not good behavior. I can't operate at 1%. In the last 2 days, I was like actually a dead guy, but thanks to the medicine, I'm at least functional right now. And I do have a lot of thoughts, especially on the Oilers and on my old friend Dougie Hamilton. So let's do it.
I do want to point out a cool thing that just happened in chat is that Jimbo said 17 likes is weak for X amount of viewers. Let's get these boys some help. And our very, very loving community was like, oh boy, Jimbo, get ready to learn like spike. And they explained the like spike, and Jimbo was like, oh hell yeah. So shout out Jimbo. I assume that this is your first time in here, and if not, one of your earliest times in here. I appreciate the hell out of you, and I appreciate the hell out of the community for teaching.
While we're checking in on the chat, somebody said, say something nice about Riley Smith. Great on his backhand. Love Riley Smith. Always loved him as a player. I thought didn't totally deserve the journeyman thing, but he was a player that always got himself into a position where a team would overpay him by like 15%, and then he'd have to get traded. So I guess that's NHL life. But always liked Riley Smith as a player. Really like him for the Rangers. And this will be a double say something nice. Johnny Lasneau, he said at the trade deadline, sounds like Riley Smith is one of the options for the Rangers. It was at that point we said, okay, Mr. Big Tough Insider, we're going to start you off in the doghouse. Be an insider for us. Dance, monkey. He was wrong. Stayed in the doghouse for months. Got barked at a ton, but he was right. Maybe we're in the doghouse now.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was way ahead of the curve. Like, so ahead of the curve. Couldn't even see where the curve was.
Yeah.
Didn't know when it was. So, shout out Johnny Laz, first on the scene, first on the report for Riley Smith. And somebody in the chat also mentioned Sean Monahan. We did mention him briefly on Monday, but I do really like that signing. Maybe a little bit, a smidge of an overpayment for Sean Monahan. And like we talked about it, he fits the mold of Columbus a bit too much in his politeness and quietness.
You thought it was two Blue Jackets.
But like the fit is good, and I do like the friendship vibes. Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan being reunited in Columbus, that element of it has tickled my fancy in the past few days.
Okay, so we're going to Stadium Series, obviously, with our friends the Blue Jackets, and my plan was always 86. That's my Stadium Series jersey.
Yeah.
That's all of our guy. I can't lay claim to him. We all love him so much. But if a Stadium Series Sean Monahan wouldn't go kind of crazy, well, I like him for my guys. That's all I'll say. I like the roster, and I like him for my guys.
I like him for our guys, and I also like the potential of us doing a Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan tandem interview. That would be fucking awesome. And I feel like one of the things that we do well here is the tandem interview. It's not something that a lot of other places are doing. We did it with Olmark and Swayman. We did it with Foligno and Seth Jones. We did it with Bedard and Korchinski. We haven't done one with the Blue Jackets. And so I think doing a Monahan, Gaudreau, two guys that we haven't yet talked to, doing them in tandem would be very, very, very fun.
God, I love interviewing people so much. One of my favorite things to do. After the Olmark thing, you see we were getting some of like the veteran scribes quoting the videos with some like, God damn, these guys can interview.
Steve Conroy saying that we are masters of our medium made it move.
But
Steve
are we masters
Conroy
of
is
our
a real
domain?
one.
Yeah. Oh, and Steve Conroy is just like,
he doesn't hand those out like candy. He's a journalism man.
He'd be more so the type to say, I don't get it with these kids, because I was often the kid that he didn't get it with. And he saw me kind of go from the very young reporter who didn't really know how to ask questions to the person who got the lay of the land to the person who came in every day an hour before everyone, was like, interviewing people is the fucking most fun and easy thing in the world. Are you guys so excited to go in there and start talking to these guys? Come on. Unbelievable. Let's go, boys. Hitting people on the back and whatnot. Today on What Chaos, Columbus Blue Jackets and media ethics. Let's start with our Edmonton Oilers, because when we did this episode on Monday, we were kind of satisfied with the moves that they had done. They didn't have a GM. Jeff Jackson was in charge, and they had signed, they'd brought back Connor Brown, and they'd signed Victor Arvidsson. And then after that, they did everything. After this episode they did everything. They first added Jeff Skinner on a 1-year, $3 million deal. Then they added, I couldn't sleep because I was in so much pain, and I got a text from you. It was a Ryan Rashog tweet saying they had brought back Adam Henrique at 2 years, $3 million per. You got the great graphic there from Sean. Also being brought back Matthias Janmark, who I thought was a real possibility to be gone. Calvin Pickard, they signed before free agency started. Josh Brown, they signed to really the only one of these deals that makes me say, huh? Troy Stetcher back. Pete, this is such a good offseason already for this team. And yeah, they're over the cap, and we'll talk about that. I just want to start here. Did you think after they'd signed Jeff Skinner, or even before they signed Jeff Skinner, that Henrique was even in play or still a possibility anymore?
I mean, we just hadn't heard anything about him. He hadn't even really crossed my mind because it was so quiet. But when they said that he was re-signing, it didn't shock me. It was more of a shock of like, how are they going to fit all these guys? Which the answer is they're not going to. They're going to have to move somebody. And I tweeted like, Evander Kane, you are an Anaheim Duck, and that would make a lot of sense because the Ducks still need to hit the floor. If you can convince Evander Kane to go back to California, we'll see. But you're right. Like, this is a very, very good offseason from the Oilers, specifically because they didn't overpay for anybody. Maybe Josh Brown.
Brown, that's it.
But like, normally you see the Oilers do some work and they have to force things to be like, oh, we got to put some guys around Connor. We got to put some guys around Draisaitl. Fuck, we might have to overpay for wingers. They are getting guys to go to them now on the cheap because they have arrived and they are like being taken seriously. And we saw that with Jeff Skinner, saw that with Adam Henrique. The report on Skinner was like, he was close to the finish line with the Maple Leafs. He had more money offered from another team. I forget which one at this time, but he ended up choosing the Oilers because he wanted to go there and thought that they were closest to winning, which shout out Jeff Skinner, my guy who has not played one playoff game. Anybody doubting that guy's like will to win, fuck off. He took less money to go win.
I thought you were going to say, shout out Jeff Skinner, my guy. What does he know about winning? But he guesses.
No, like I hate when people hold the playoff thing against Jeff Skinner. It's not because he doesn't want to make the playoffs. It's just he's not been on the best teams to do so. So I'm excited. It seems like in all likelihood he's going to play his first playoff game this upcoming season. He went to Edmonton to do so. I'm very excited about that. Henrique, I love that he's coming back, assuming, presumably on the cheap and cheaper than he would have got elsewhere. So yeah, I love that guys are coming back just to win.
Henrique, I heard two teams offered more money on, and I don't have it rock solid, so I'm afraid to throw it out there, and maybe it was a fever dream or something like that, but there's no way 2 years at $3 million per was the biggest offer that Adam Henrique got. I am so pleasantly surprised that he's back with them. He's the guy that I would have loved for them to have retained, but assumed he'd be outpriced, and late in his career, just had a kid. Maybe he's like, you know what, let's get whatever last good contract we can get. He said, you know what, let's get another cup run. I've had some of these, right? He had one in New Jersey, had one in Edmonton. He's saying, let's get this darn trophy. And now, boy, oh boy, it's the same conversation we had when they acquired him at the trade deadline, which is the lineup versatility offensively that Chris Knobloch has now, except in addition to the names we talked about at the time, especially at left wing, which Draisaitl can play, which Nuge can play, which Henrique can play in addition to center, you have Jeff Skinner. Unbelievable. And yes, Jeff Skinner at this point in his career, I love Jeff Skinner just like Pete loves Jeff Skinner.
No,
Jeff Skinner can score. Yeah, probably not. Jeff Skinner, I knew he was a figure skater before you did. Jeff Skinner can score, and that's kind of all you can count on from him right now. And for the Oilers, and probably for Leon Draisaitl, that might be all you need. I'm already tempted to screw around with that lineup a bit and take Dylan Holloway and keep him with Draisaitl and play Arvidsson on the right side. And then Henrique can either be a first line winger and you move Nugent Hopkins down and you got some sort of Nugent Hopkins, Henrique defensive two-way fucking monster line on your third line. The possibilities are crazy right now.
I'm just looking at Daily Faceoff right now with the projected lineup or whatever it is. It is absurd. First line, you have Jeff Skinner and Zach Hyman on Connor McDavid's wings. Second line, Leon Draisaitl with Dylan Holloway and Victor Arvidsson on his wings. Third line, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with McLeod and Evander Kane on his wings. Fourth line center, Adam Henrique with Matthias Janmark and Connor Brown on his wings. Like, that's probably not what it's going to look like on opening night, but the fact that's even a projected lineup right now is fucking insane. Your top four centers are McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, and Henrique. That is so good. That's unbelievable. I mean, they absolutely have the best top six in the entire NHL.
Definitely. I think that's closer to that was closer to what I was talking about than I thought it would be. Skinner on the first line, Nugent Hopkins on the third line. Although, I'll be honest, as I put these lines together, I'm not counting on Evander Kane being there, but we'll see. I like the idea of third line being Nuge, Henrique, and whomever else.
My question is do you think that it's too centered or too heavy on the forward group, and are you still concerned about what they have on the back end?
Yeah, I think that what would sink the Oilers still would be defense. Matthias Ekholm is a year older. Evan Bouchard is going to get a year better. However, I don't know how much better offensively Evan Bouchard can get, but typically where we've seen growth from Evan Bouchard has been in his offensive game. His defensive game so far in the NHL kind of is what it is. He's not a good defensive player. I love him. Oilers fans, fellow Oilmen, we're allowed to say he's not a good defensive player. I love him with all my heart. I got in some trouble with Torrey Krug for talking about him this way, but Torrey Krug got a little better over time, and he kind of got towards not a Brian Rafalski kind of place, but where with, in Krug's case, size being his limitation, he still had a good stick and was able to position himself well, and he became a pretty solid all-around defenseman. Bouchard needs to get there. I'm not counting on him to get there. So if we're talking about what could sink them, it's that Darnell Nurse didn't have the greatest year last year. Is he going to get back to what he's been? And if he gets back to what he's been, which is a representative top four defenseman, awesome. Because that's an improvement from what he was last year, and I'll take that. Philip Broberg, what's he going to be in a full NHL season? I should note, this team is still over the cap by about $2.5 million and has not signed Dylan Holloway or Philip Broberg, so guys do have to go. We'll talk about that in a second. But yes, their defense is what would hold them back. I like the goaltending. Tidy bit of work to have a good pairing, good tandem, I should say. Not really tandem because we know Stu's the guy, signed for under $5 million. But yes, if anything gets them, it's this back end. They did lose Vinny Desharnais. Bon voyage, friend. He has gone to Vancouver. A lot of like Oiler type guys going to Vancouver because they also got Jake DeBrusk. But that's what it would be. It would be the defense. I do think this is going all in though. This is them saying last year Leon's contract. Let's push the chips completely all in and show Leon and show Connor, and damn it, show ourselves, because we just came an inch. We came a freaking left-handed Zach Hyman or slightly sharper Stu Skinner away from winning the
I will
cup.
say the one thing that does sort of encourage me with the defense, although I don't love it on paper, is you got another full year under Paul Coffey, and you saw what that team, changed up under Paul Coffey leading the defense. I think that they made some strides and just a full team defensive effort under Chris Knobloch. So the commitment to team defense gives me a little bit more hope. But yeah, you're right. I like the blue line is what will sink them if they do get sunk, and it's probably going to be that Matthias Ekholm is being relied on so much and is a year older. So we'll see, but I'm very, very excited about what they look like. And as soon as they signed Jeff Skinner, man, I was like, as soon as they signed Jeff Skinner, my attention pivoted to, okay, I'm ready for the summer to I'm ready for the season to start again. Please let me watch Jeff Skinner play with the Edmonton Oilers.
We have a super chat from our friend Emily, who says, missed last week's chat spike, want to keep it going. Thanks for the effort all season from you three. Made something really special. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Also, haven't been checking the chat a ton. Somebody notes that it was reported that Henrique had a bigger offer from the Jets, which makes sense. If I were a lot of teams, I would have gone after Adam Henrique. Especially the Lightning. After losing Stamkos, by the way, how about that Henrique contract? How about that? I'm not Henrique contract. Hedman. That Hedman contract. Word for word, bar for bar.
Yeah.
Which obviously you got to sign that player, but that's got to hurt a little more. The Oilers have added players. We've noted that. They've hired some new guys. And when it comes to Indeed, our new sponsor, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. Join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. My question now becomes, with the Oilers over the cap, and if my CBA is as sharp as it was back in my reporting days, you're allowed to be over the cap by 10% in the offseason. So the Oilers still have a ways to go before they get a call from the cops about what they're doing. But they are over the cap by $2.5 million, 2.45, I believe. They've got to send money out because they've got to sign Philip Broberg, who was just, I thought, a godsend in the postseason. And also Dylan Holloway, who really, after years of will he, won't he, I think has answered he will. Mm-hmm. So they need money. They got to send money out. Options, I would say, are Kane, who's got, what, $5 million on the books?
5.125. So yeah, basically just a smidge over 5. If you're picking a guy, it's definitely him.
He's the most logical.
But I don't know if they're going to be able to. He has got a full no movement clause. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't want to leave Edmonton, but you never know how that stuff goes. I think that he's going to be the first person they look to. Whether or not they can do it, we'll see. Cody Ceci's another one that I would try. If you could dump him on a bad team, I would do it. He's 3.25, but again, you might have to attach something to either. You're probably going to have to attach something to either one of those guys.
And then the wild pie in the sky one, and you could also like move Ryan McLeod or something, and that's like some shaving off the margins you could do. But the big one, the solve all the problems one, would be to remove the Darnell Nurse contract. That seems very unlikely, and anybody taking it, you would have to retain money. My question is, at this point and where the Oilers are, do you really want to take away that important a player? And my answer is I'm sorry, I'm trying other stuff.
Yeah, you just can't. I just think that you can't do it unless you're getting back a top 4 defenseman, which who's giving up a top 4 defenseman to get an overpaid top 4 defenseman, So you're right that it would be the fix, but in terms of financially, but it wouldn't fix anything from a team perspective. And it's not an option. I just don't think it's an option.
I don't think that cake bakes, man.
Yeah.
I don't think that cake bakes. You're right. Because of what you would need back, and how if you've got like a cheap top 4 defenseman, you're not doing that anyway. But who
Especially
knows?
with
Maybe
no leverage. Like, you got no leverage. It's not a fix.
with
It's just not
Setcher
gonna work.
healthy or Brown, they like some of the things they'll be able to do if they do move like a CC out or something like that. I am bummed to see Desharnais go, but such is life. Krusty Ham super chats and says, "Funny stuff, boys. Good season. Currently watching on my new porch in my shady rays, playing Prize Picks and using my lawnmower 5.0, so I don't CMP. Thank you very much." As somebody in the chat notes, there's also the possibility they could start the season with somebody, let's say their last name rhymes with Jane, on LTIR. That would only get them so far, though, because you'd still be over the cap if you're signing Broberg and Holloway, unless you're going to do what Boston had to do years ago, where they just like absolutely stuck Riley Smith and Torrey Krug with like minimum contracts, and then had to do a wink deal that once we have an inch of cap space, we'll give you big money. That's what got Riley Smith traded in the first place. Callback humor. But they've got work to do. And the man doing it is Jeff Jackson, who Super Hot Fire Voice claims he's not a GM, but he's still working these deals like absolute crazy. If you remember when we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, maybe, what are the final days of Ken Holland? How do you succeed? Blah, blah. My thing was like, can't Jeff Jackson just do it? I'd rather him just do it. He's obviously got a very close line to Connor McDavid. And you were saying Connor McDavid, player GM, just have Jeff Jackson do it. Jeff Jackson is not beating the would be a good GM allegations, because all he's done is position the Oilers to be cup favorites right now with the moves that he's done.
You know what kind of reminds me of is, it's not to this degree, but Jeff Gordon in 05-06, when he took over as interim GM for the Bruins, had never been a GM before, was a player agent. I believe Jeff Gordon was a player agent, correct?
Gordon
he
was
media
a
guy.
media relations.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this disparagingly, because I have a lot of friends who have done this. Hand out the stat sheets to the people in the press box.
It's incredible glow up.
Hey, is there any player you want to talk to after the game type of guy. Worked his way up, was just awesome at what he did, and became assistant general manager and then interim general manager for
and
the
made like two of the biggest signings in draft picks. What?
Is the statute of limitations up? He didn't make those signings.
You don't think so? Or I guess
I
you
know
would know
so.
better than I did. Okay.
But he did not make those signings.
Well, the signings were made under him.
Yes, he made he had the biggest. He had like the most important offseason ever for the Bruins.
Yes, right. So, okay, that's a good way to put it. He had the most important offseason. Yeah, I mean, the Jeff Jackson thing, you like what you see so far, but how much of it does go back to the position that he's in based off of the way the team played this past year? Because, again, like, Jeff Skinner's taking less money, Adam Henrique's taking less money to come here, but clearly he's a good salesman. Like, even if he just shows up with a picture of Connor McDavid and slaps it on the table, it's a pretty good sales pitch, and it's working. So, solid bit of work, but the rumors, the vibes are good right now around the Oilers. I hope they don't fucking sign Stan Bowman. I really don't.
I was.
I know it would just be.
I'll just say that's a rumor that existed outside of Oilers circles before it existed inside Oilers circles. So if that makes you feel any better, I would rather them not do that as well.
Yeah,
I would. I'm gonna get crazy here. I would strongly rather them not do that. I would really rather Jeff Jackson, just stay there. Or how about this one? While we're divvying up credit pie for Boston Bruins transactions, Keith Gretzky.
Yeah, like
Just
homegrown guys.
Just have him do it.
I want the Oilers, and I know that Ken Holland isn't like Oilers, but like the Oilers just staying in the family is what I want. Make Bob Stauffer fucking GM.
I've got a massive you sure about that to dole out to the chat. Neil says Jeff Gorton rebuilt the Bruins in 2 weeks and Chiarelli got all the credit. Very informed voice. You sure about that? Chara doesn't come to the Bruins without Chiarelli. That I promise you. Chara turned down more money from the Kings and the Rangers. He was Chiarelli's guy, or Chiarelli was his guy, I should say. Chiarelli had him on this whole like, yo, let's go to Boston and fuck shit up, brother. And the Senators were like, let's sign Wade Redden. And Chara said, I'm going to start dealing with people who seem like they make sense. Peter, what was that you were saying? Something about Boston? Let's go, buddy. Uppies. And then they went. That's right. He did uppies to Peter Chiarelli. Not the other way around.
Also, Yanni says Quenneville to Columbus. If there's one person I can guarantee that the Columbus Blue Jackets are not hiring, it's Joel Quenneville. And I know that they're the only team with a coaching vacancy. They're not hiring Joel Quenneville. They went with the controversial coaching hire last offseason. It did not work out for them. They're not going back to that well. Not that I think that Joel Quenneville is likely to repeat the toxic behavior or the problems that have been attached to him as much as Mike Babcock, but he's not going to Columbus.
Some other candidates, we have Tony Brar, GM.
Yes.
Gene M. I like that. Have Gene be the GM.
Gene M. Got it. Yeah, they took a while.
Somebody said Stauffer puppet GM is the solution. Listen,
I don't know if Stauffer's respected enough in those circles that he would not be a puppet GM.
That's the thing. I think that if they made Bob GM, they'd be like, Bob, do your thing, brother. Bob, I'll tell you what, if Bob, starting right now, if Bob became GM of the Oilers win the cup next year no matter what.
Just for,
like Leon would win it
motivation.
for Bob.
Yeah,
Leon would win it
purposes.
for Bob.
Yeah.
The pregame speech before Game 7 is Bob would be like, guys, follow me. He'd take him out to the ice, and he would just skate. Fans would already be in the building. They'd be like, what's going on? Why is the GM skating? I don't like this. And then the Oilers would go out, have an incredible 3 periods, and win the cup. Yeah, but Columbus, the heat way too hot on Columbus. Just absolutely cannot hire Quenneville.
Chat also mentioning the ESPN rookie post that went up yesterday. You want to save that? Okay, we'll save that.
Yeah, we got
I didn't know if that was on the docket, but we will talk about that. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, the docket's it's topic 4. But yes. Sorry. I'm a rundown stickler. Are we done with Oilers stuff though?
Yeah, I think that we're good there, right?
Okay, let's talk about the other best person in the world, Dougie Hamilton, because I don't think that you need to do schedule release videos. I think that it's something that people are pressured into doing because it's become a thing, and a lot of teams have done it well. But now there's so much pressure to do it well that when you don't knock it out of the park, it feels like a big failure. And I am often underwhelmed, in fact, not even inspired to watch schedule release videos because I think that they're just going to miss the mark and make me cringe and make me feel bad. What the Devils did in a sport that does not require schedule release videos, even though every NHL team did it yesterday with varying degrees of success. What the Devils did with Dougie Hamilton leading the way in their schedule release video is one of the best schedule release videos, I'll say top 5 of any sport, any league. Am I biased? Because I feel strongly that Dougie Hamilton is not only a good person, but a freaking cool guy. Yeah. But you know what? I'm right. Because we all saw this video, and look how funny Dougie Hamilton is. He killed it. Dougie, Dougie.
I'll tell you what, from a schedule release video, like execution standpoint, it's an F because I learned nothing about their fucking schedule. I just wasn't paying attention, and I think they only went over like divisional games. So it was a bad schedule release video, but in terms of a piece of content, it was an incredible piece of content. And Dougie, the image control on Dougie and the stonks on Dougie as a personality have skyrocketed thanks to this video. Incredible performance from Dougie Hamilton.
Just is my mic okay?
No, I think it switched to something. It switched to a different input.
Wait, there we go.
There you go.
No, something slipped. My bad. Incredible. So funny. Love the Curtis Lazar tie-in. Just the proper amount, not too much. There needed to be something else going on, but you better not keep my eyes off of Dougie for too long because then I'm gone. Incredible. Very, very funny. Well written. Shout out whoever put it together. Maybe it means I was going to say maybe it means a little more that. Are you going to say that Dougie isn't like that Dougie isn't Satan?
No, it's proof that like in a world where these teams are sinking insane amounts of money, I would assume, into like the production of these schedule release videos, that all you need is a camera and like one interesting person, and you can put together something great. You don't have to do, you don't have to outsource it. You don't have to do all these like bells and whistles on your schedule release video. Just have a funny, interesting person, stick them in front of a camera, and write some good jokes. And it's a great piece of content that'll be better than 98% of what else is out there.
I love this. I just love this for my guys because Dougie Hamilton has obviously been discussed for what his personality may or may not be so much. And would this happen if he weren't a great player? No, but I still don't think that it's fair. And this happened around the time of the draft when people, I believe there was a thing where a team asked him, would you rather cure cancer or win the Stanley Cup? And he said, cure cancer. And they kind of did like a,
That's a mean question to ask. Who the fuck asked that question?
I can't remember if I have that 100%, but this is a podcast. I'm a podcaster now, not a reporter, so I can speculate with some of these stories a little bit. I think that happened. I think he was asked some sort of question of like, would you rather world peace or like to win the Stanley Cup? Basically to see like, is there anything more important to this guy than winning? And he was like, definitely. I want people to not be sick. And they were like, asshole. We don't know about this guy.
Fucking prick.
Is this a guy a good teammate?
Somebody should ask that question to Jacob Trouba, who we'll get to in a second. But like the Jacob Trouba situation with him and his wife being a doctor, you should be like, hey, would you rather win the Stanley Cup or would you rather a wife cure cancer?
Yeah, that's also
that's the next plausible stage and logical stage in the Jacob Trouba saga.
Mike, I can guess which Mike this is. It's our dear friend who owes me a shot for what I said last episode about him potentially starting a narrative that Nikita Zadorov is better than Chara was. Says Jeff Gorton, greatest Bruins GM since 1972. Congratulations, Mike. Every time we bring up Jeff Gorton or Peter Chiarelli, we're kind of asking for it. So glad you were able to slip in there. It's a dog whistle
for Mike. He hears either one of those names and he comes running.
Yes, I love it. Somebody in the chat asks, are you still sick, DJ? You kidding me? Yes. But having a good time with it. Someone says, are we ever really done with Oilers stuff, though? No, we're never done with it. Are we done with schedule release stuff, though?
I believe so. Like, I don't know how to feel about the NHL really getting into that game. Like, I feel like they're following the NFL's trail where they're like, okay, this is an opportunity for us to get content. The fact that we got the Dougie Hamilton video, though, makes me feel good about it. I'm just curious to see where else this heads, and I'm a little nervous that some teams are going to embarrass themselves.
Exactly. Is this really a good thing or a bad thing? Like, what does this... You know what this is? Sean, get up here. Get up here, Sean. Get up here. Video 2. Sean, the New Jersey Devils just did the Michigan.
it's the first step in ruining hockey.
Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Or
if you can find a way for it to be negative, then you're the problem. Am I talking about the Michigan or online content? That's up for you to decide.
I do like that.
I'm an online content boy. It's in my heart.
I do love that they come out with the schedule release trend and the Devils fucking nail it, and we immediately position to, is this bad for hockey? Are they going to kill the NHL? Is their video too good that it's going to be bad for the sport?
Especially when it's a Dougie Hamilton related thing, and I'm like, I've just been spending my life's work has been trying to convince people that, like, you know who's a cool conversation? Dougie Hamilton. That he's like the center of this thing, shows great personality, knocks it out of the park, and we're like, think we're in trouble, guys.
They shouldn't have done this.
This shouldn't have happened. This isn't a good idea.
It's the quickest 180 I've ever seen in a segment.
Love this. Man, I texted Dougie Hamilton's agent after I saw it and said, he's a legend. That's all I said. And he replied, yeah, he replied right away. Just saw. So hilarious. Nice. End of conversation.
Very fruitful. Nice.
Sometimes I text Dougie Hamilton's agent just about, like, thinking of Dougie. Love him. And he'll be like, hope all is well.
I think Dougie Hamilton has to start unblocking people on Twitter.
Nope. Sean, get back up here. Sean, get back up here. Unblock.
Sean, how do you feel about
you need to look happier to come up here when I called you up. Maybe it's because I'm rudely saying, like, come on, son. Unblocking people. Your thoughts?
It depends on if they deserve it. I like Bomani Jones' method. He blocks people and then he gives them a chance to apply for unblocking.
How does that happen?
I think there's like I don't remember if it's like a Google Doc or if it's like a call. I think he does like voicemails on his show. And he has like a segment where he'll let people call in and give their argument explain why they got blocked and their argument for getting unblocked, and he'll decide unilaterally if he's going to unblock them. And I like that. If there's a path to redemption, then do whatever you want. It's your Twitter account.
Here's the problem. Here's why it's bad behavior with Dougie Hamilton. He has blocked everybody. He is the biggest, like, preemptive blocker on the website. It's him and Ben Roethlisberger, who, like, I think are the two athletes where so many people would be like, what the fuck? Why am I blocked by Dougie Hamilton? Or why am I blocked by Ben Roethlisberger? I don't think I've said anything about them. It has big, like, I'm just going to get out ahead of this energy. And for Ben Roethlisberger, I certainly get it. For Dougie Hamilton, I get it a bit less. I know that he was criticized a bunch, and especially by people in Boston, but I don't think that I've ever sent, like, anything nasty or mean-spirited about Dougie Hamilton.
Listen, my thing has always been people that go on the internet just to, like, find stuff to be mad at and argue. If you want to make your Twitter experience or whatever experience as pleasant as you want, it's your experience. Go crazy.
I think that his block number is so big that it's like, I want to have a Twitter account, but I don't want anybody to see or be able to interact with my Twitter account.
He's a defenseman.
Go crazy.
He's a defenseman. He's just trying to get in front of shots.
That's fair.
He's just trying to block it. Sean, I just sent you a document. If you could get that up on the screen as quickly as possible. You said, Pete, that he's blocked you.
Yeah.
You're has really. What's that?
You're unblocked, right? Because I believe that we've gone over this, and you've taken great pride in being one of, like, the 6 people that are unblocked by Dougie Hamilton. Like, they should, for the Panthers thing. Nice.
That's me, baby.
There you go. Following 0 people.
So, but it also worth noting, not only am I not blocked, I'm one of, like, 12 of these fuckers that he actually knows.
Yeah.
And I take pride in that maybe it's like he told that joke one time, or you know what? It probably is like he wrote that nice thing about me. I was very pro Dougie Hamilton when he was in Boston. Like every time Chara got hurt, I would write a like the Dougie Hamilton era begins now kind of thing. But he suffered no fools when it came to blocking people. Even you could be his best friend and he'd say you're gone.
I mean, Dougie Hamilton has a Twitter account with following 0 people, has 0 posts, and has blocked 3/4 of the website. Just don't have a Twitter account.
No, it's good behavior.
You don't have a Twitter account. You're not posting. You're not following. You're just blocking. It's crazy.
No. It's just I don't know why. And I'm just going to do what I always do, which is to always defend Dougie Hamilton. It's good behavior. Rhino Den super chats and says, will the Dawn be able to move Line A? I think not. I hope so for everybody's sake. This is a Patrick Line A podcast. It's hard not to be a Patrick Line A podcast. It's a Columbus Blue Jackets podcast. Seems like all parties want that to happen. I hope that works out. I mean, shoot. Yeah. Jeff Jackson may not be done. They need another wing.
I mean, I think it gets done. They'll find a way to get it done. Yeah, I know you're kidding about him to the Oilers, but that would be fucking amazing. They'll find a way to get done just because both teams really know that it's for the best and want it to happen. We do have a couple of ad reads we have to get to, by the way.
Yeah, you want to take it away with...
Sure will. Lucy Nicotine.
With Lucy? Yep.
Our friends at Lucy, me and Sean, can speak very highly of Lucy, not DJ, because he's a little soy boy. He's a lib. We love Lucy Nicotine. It's 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco free, available in pouches, gum, and our favorite, the Breakers. The Breakers are like pouches, but they've got like a capsule of liquid flavor in the middle. So when you break it, saturates the pouch. Oh, it's that good stuff, baby. The Breakers are available in 4 milligrams or 8 milligrams. They also come in flavors like mint, berry, citrus, and espresso. Espresso is an interesting one. I haven't had it yet. I think Sean's had it. I think Sean said it was a bit too chocolatey for him. Sean doesn't like chocolate, which is a crazy fact about Sean.
Can confirm.
Very weird for
like
1975
If you like
fan.
espresso chocolate, I like that chocolate, but that chocolate is hard drugs, so I guess I don't really like that chocolate.
Okay.
But I if you like chocolate, if you like a strong coffee flavor, you'll like the Espresso Lucy.
Mm-hmm. Not like Warheads, correct, Krusty Ham. Pouches go all the way up to 12 milligrams. If you're not a pouch guy or gal, Lucy Gum is available in 2 milligrams, 4 milligrams, or 6 milligrams. You can also set up a subscription service and have Lucy delivered straight to your door. No weekly gas station trips. Get those out of your life. Just have them delivered right to your doorstep. We love Lucy. This one is the cinnamon, which I am a huge fan of the cinnamon. Thank you, Sean, for sending this my way, courtesy of Lucy. So here is the actually we got to do this call to action first. Let's level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/whatchaos and use promo code whatchaos to get 20% off your first order. Lucy offers free shipping and has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. That is lucy.co using code whatchaos to get 20% off and always free shipping. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine and nicotine is an addictive chemical. Once again, that is lucy.co using code whatchaos to get 20% off and free shipping.
Fellas,
What's up?
Do you want your grooming routine to be a one and done deal? Well, the days of using the same trimmer for your face and your private parts are over, thanks to our friends at Manscaped. That's right. For this final episode, for a little while, we're getting a Deej does the Manscaped read. They've come up with the ultimate package to keep your hairs trimmed from 12 to 6, if you know what I mean. That's not a... I'm going to be doing that for the parts that like aren't gross. Introducing the Beard and Balls Bundle, featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger, a trimmer for the moneymaker and another for the boys downstairs. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code WhatChaos at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code WhatChaos at manscaped.com. For the premium grooming experience, trust Manscaped. Now we get to a tricky part in the ad read because it says, host talk about a time when he hurt his balls while trimming below the waist, or a funny ball trimming story. Folks, one time I was not using Manscaped. I was playing around. I was just
Frolicking
really
down there.
I was, quite frankly, pardon my friend, I was doing God knows what with my upkeep.
Had the zoomies. You had the zoomies while doing your manscaping routine.
I was not high on drugs, but quite frankly, I might as well have been, given some of the products I was using for such a now prioritized part of my body. I was always a hair guy. I was always a face guy. I was always a muscles guy. Everyone knew that about me.
Why?
It was always my physique and my face. That's what I cared about. When it came to the stuff below the belt, I thought, who cares?
No time for it.
I can use anything. It's not like my partner is I don't know what I was thinking. Okay?
Running around your apartment with scissors.
Anyway, so I'm at urgent care and they say, "Why are you here?" I hadn't realized, shoot, I got to tell them why I'm here. So I wrote down on a piece of paper, slid it across to them, contract negotiation style, and this poor person at urgent care had to look at the piece of paper that said, "Cut my penis." And she looked back at me angrily and said, "Well, how'd you do that?" And I was like, look, I'm not here to have a conversation. I'm here to do something about what is written on that piece of paper. So I was there for a little bit. It stopped bleeding. I'm okay. I lived through it, but I was lucky. And at that moment, I said, never again. For the first time in my life, I thought, I do not want to have to go to urgent care with a cut you-know-what. So I'm going to change my ways. It was around then that Manscaped came into my life. I have been using Manscaped and the lawnmower, various steps. We're now at 5.0 Ultra, which is just an embarrassment of riches. Whatever I was on at the time, I think I was on like lawnmower 2.0.
I think it was 2.0, yeah.
And that was such a step in the right direction. My bleeding days were over there, but now I'm like going in the dark.
Wireless charging.
I'm charging from like all over the place.
Gone are the days of sliding like a bank teller note that you're about to rob this bank, except you've robbed your penis of its skin. Just a complete 180 for DJ in that department.
Incredible. So I'll just tell you about the Lawnmower 5.0. It ensures that you're always looking your best below the waist. It does, really. Clean, easy, lights, no whistles, but maybe that's coming with 6. And then I've also got the beard
soundboard.
Yeah.
Lawnmower 6.0 with the soundboard.
Oh my God. An air horn on that would be amazing. Just got the Michael Andlauer drops at Tim Robinson. Maybe you want to go old. What was it called?
You're doing a runway down there, like a what's it called? A landing strip, and it's. You
Yep.
sure about that? You sure about that?
Man, you want to go? What was it called? E-Bombs World. We can get some Arnold Schwarzenegger on there.
Cookies.
Who said you could eat my cookies? Who told you could eat my cookies? Eating in my house. Eating
Chat
my
says
cookies.
This ad read is going to be posted as a video. It's so long. It is not an ad read anymore. It's just content.
With my family. We've talked about just making a section on our YouTube that is ad reads.
Oops, all ad reads.
Oops, all ad reads. And then the beard hedger, which I'm telling you, I'm thinking about it. Thinking about loading a season 2 look. If I do that, the beard hedger is going to be involved. believe you me, Pete doesn't believe in loading looks. I might load a look. We'll see. If so, Pete will definitely be on board with me using the beard hedger, because Manscaped has just changed both of our lives immeasurably. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code WhatChaos at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code WhatChaos at manscaped.com. No more juggling multiple tools or dealing with subpar results, just efficient, effective grooming wherever you need it. We've been talking a lot about money and teams trying to send it out in order to add new players. The New York Rangers famously have added Riley Smith. That's a move that we quite like and rate. They would love to get rid of Jacob Trouba in the 2 years remaining on his contract. However, he's got a full no move. 2 years, $8 million AAV, full no move, and they're having difficulty moving him. Part of it, it is believed, is the fact that his wife, Kelly, who we've heard lots about, thanks to our friend Pasha at the Spit and Chicklets podcast, who is a very talented physician, or I'll say in a physician residency.
You made it sound like Pasha's in a physician residency. Trouba's wife is in a physician residency. Pasha is a extremely talented videographer,
right, and a shit stirrer. Very handsome guy. I like Pasha a lot. Anyway, Jacob Trouba's wife Kelly's residency at a New York hospital runs through July 2025. So there's a lot of talk of the what, where, and why, and the idea of blocking a trade for your partner and all these things. I have always been extremely pro. If the player has we brought this up with Lena Solmark just last week. If a player has a no trade clause or a no movement clause, it means that they are theoretically receiving less money than they could have in order to have these rights. It's negotiated into their contract, and if they choose to hold them up, then they're just doing what they're doing, just like a team trading a player is doing whatever is their want and their priority. So I say no harm, no foul on Jacob Trouba. People want to give him shit for being an anchor on the team, whatever. Like, too bad. Give him shit for being a dirty player, or give him shit for hits he throws and stuff. Like, this is not going to be my bone to pick with Jacob Trouba.
No, and I mean the Trouba situation is different than like what you would normally describe there with like taking less money or whatever. Because if you remember, he essentially like strong-armed his way from Winnipeg to New York. Part of the reason why was because of his wife's like medical career in the hospital and stuff like that. He just really wanted to play for the Rangers, and so it ended up working out. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you have the no trade, no move in your contract, if you have the no trade clause in your contract, like by all means, go ahead and execute it. Where this situation seemingly has become a little dicey is that Trouba negotiated for the full no movement clause, from my understanding, to coincide and run concurrently with his wife's residency, but his wife's residency was deferred a year. So now it is Trouba has a 15 team no trade clause, not a full no move clause. And so like now the Rangers can trade him to a team not on the list. It's just, should they? Because he doesn't want to move. Which, like, I think that if they can find a way to trade him, morally, they're fine. Like, it's if you can get out from under the deal, like, your responsibility is to the team, not to Jacob Trouba, not to his wife. He certainly wouldn't be the first player to play away from his wife for a year. Where it's also complicated. They just had a baby. You know, that elevates the personal ties to it. There is like a narrative and a rumor out there right now that they're trying to trade him to teams that are not on his no trade list, and he's saying that he won't report, and like basically holding the team hostage to not trade him. I did ask about that. I asked around on that. From what I've heard, that is not true. Like, that is not true. The relationship between Trouba and the team is still very good, and that he is not threatening to not show up to teams that are not on his no trade list. So it is completely within the confines of like what is acceptable here. And I think if the Rangers find a way to get it done, it's going to be okay. Everybody's going to be all right. I think it's really weird and uncomfortable the place that it's gotten with like the Larry Brooks report from the New York Post, like throwing his wife's name out there a ton. And I know that like her name was already out there because Trouba was doing features and stuff like that when he got to New York. But bringing it up now and saying that like this is a big reason why they're having a hard time trading him seems like it's ammunition for toxic fans, or feels like it's either being planted by the team to apply pressure or something. It all makes me very uncomfortable, the places that it's gone.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying like this is why he doesn't want to get traded. It's for a family reason, and explaining what the family reason is. Like, it's not like it's I don't know what embarrassing family reason there could be, but like it's not like it's an embarrassing thing. I think that actually in today's day and age, it's good for a professional hockey player to be seen as one half a marriage versus being, oh, they're the breadwinner, they're this, and they're gonna drag whomever with them or whatever. Like, I think that it makes me think more highly of Jacob Trouba to see it out there that his wife has another year of her residency, and he's like, oh, I don't want to go then, and we don't want to have to relocate, and we don't want our family to be apart for this. The other side of that, though, is if they can trade him to a team not on his list, they should do it. Like for like this is a hockey show. Like this, if the Rangers can get rid of that money, they have to do it, and it sucks. Yeah. But and they put that family in an unfortunate situation. But I would not be surprised at all if they have a deal that's not on his list, and they say, "Shit, hate to do it, but we gotta."
Yeah, it's just like kind of the headline.
And I'll say also, I know firsthand very well. I won't bring them up, but the trades that teams have made with players when their lives have been in certain situations would make your head spin. And not to say that like this is no big deal, but this would not. This is definitely not the worst I've seen.
I mean, even like a few weeks ago, the Rangers waived Barclay Goodrow because he didn't want to go to the Sharks, and he ended up going. The Sharks ended up claiming him, and I think that he also had a newborn baby or something.
I'm not, yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about like players whose like lives and like health, like just not mental health. I'll say situations where like in dire straits, and they just do it because they got to make the move and they got something that they liked. And morally, it's not amazing behavior, but like when people say this is a business, like, brother,
yeah,
it do be a business.
Yeah, but for me, it's just like the uncomfortableness of weaponizing the wife in the wife situation, or utilizing it.
So I don't think that, at least I don't think, unless I misread the Brooks. Is that by social media though? And is that Larry Brooks's fault? If people like,
I mean, the headline of the Larry Brooks thing is wife's hospital residency among factors keeping Jacob Trouba with Rangers. Like that is a weirdly worded headline.
First of all, where does Larry Brooks work?
The New York Post. I get it.
That's not on Larry Brooks.
Fair.
So like, let's not do that to him. That's absolutely not on Larry Brooks.
Fair.
And B, is that true?
Like, I don't know. Yeah, it seems.
It sounds about right. Like, I know what you're saying. You're like, you don't want, if you put that out there, then people on the internet will do this.
Yes.
That's a dicey situation for journalism, because like Larry Brooks is not doing anything wrong there. Larry Brooks is unwillingly perhaps giving assholes ammunition, but assholes shouldn't be assholes. That's not
Sure.
on Larry Brooks.
I get, yeah, and I get it, and I don't think that inherently he's doing anything wrong, but I think like throwing up your hands and saying, "Oh, it's not my fault. Couldn't have seen this coming." The framing of how this is being presented is really putting Trouba's wife in crosshairs.
Okay,
And
so
I don't like that, and that makes me uncomfortable.
that does absolutely blow, but I think that we're seeing. I've been less online than you because I've been dying. So like I saw the story and I didn't see a lot of the Twitter reaction. You having seen the Twitter reaction makes you know what the story existing led people online to do. I'm kind of isolating the reporting and the just like filling in the details with what dickhead people did with it. So I have a hard time going at Larry Brooks there.
Yeah,
I'm angrier at assholes being assholes.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
I think that I don't know if there's a solution. Like, was it like, do you think that it was unnecessary for a writer to say like, hey, here's why the player wants to stay? I don't. And if anything, like I read that and I was more sympathetic to Jacob Trouba.
No, I agree, and I do think that it's Larry Brooks doesn't like paint Trouba or his wife in a bad light or something. I just think it makes me uncomfortable seeing it put out there right now as tensions are very high. Like, I don't know, it's just difficult for me to see them trotting out his wife as like, hey, here's why he can't be traded right now. You know what I'm saying?
I do. And I feel terrible that that's happening. I think though that this
the
is
energy
more
behind it is
the
energy behind it is Jacob Trouba would be gone if it weren't for his wife.
I think that is how an asshole on the internet would read it. I know, and I think that's how assholes
a lot of
on
people are reading it.
Yeah,
I think the problem is with the New York Post. Like, the New York Post is the New York Post, and we know what the New York Post is. They wrote that headline because they knew people would be like, there's a reason wife was before Jacob Trouba. It's because they saw that, and they were like, people are going to not read the story and be like, fuck Jacob Trouba's wife. That's the problem. Obviously, the journalist doesn't usually ever write the headline. But it would be ignorant to sit here and be like, it's the truth. Let's just throw this headline out here like that. They know damn well what they are doing. I don't think it's the journalist's fault. I don't think it's Trouba's fault. I think it's just the reality of the situation. They put that headline out there so people would get mad at Jacob Trouba's wife.
I agree with that. Olivia says they could have instead framed it as Jacob Trouba is putting his family first or something like that. And that is because I'm an asshole and read the story. That is how I took it. And as we said earlier in the conversation, New York Post, they're going to make that the headline, and then people are going to be assholes about it. But I mean, all this information only made me respect Jacob Trouba's situation and be more sympathetic to it. So I guess it's good that I don't think it was needless to have that information out there. I think that it's unfortunate that people are going to be assholes with it, but as we've learned with everything in hockey, and even recently with Jacob Trouba stuff, it's a divisive situation, and people are going to be angry and be assholes. So that sucks. I just think that I'm a little more wary of this than you, of like, you shouldn't not do your I don't want to do like a quadruple negative, but whatever. You should not do your job out of fear of what bad people on the internet will do with it, because I hope that we still have enough of a humanity barometer and humanity radar that we can discern and differentiate when people are acting in bad faith versus when people are taking something for what it is. I more took it for what it was.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. It's just, I just don't like that where it's been taken, and I don't like that you have to consider the way that assholes are going to interpret things, and I don't like the framing of it. I think the framing of it could be a little bit less incendiary, I suppose, and just the way that this has all played out has been pretty predictable. In terms of, had you told me that Jacob Trouba's wife and her residency would stand in the way of him being moved, I would say, yeah, it's probably going to be put out there, and Rangers fans are probably going to respond. Some Rangers fans are probably going to respond horribly to it and be horrible, and I hate that.
It's the damnedest situation, because then we've got people in the chats who rightfully are saying like, "Hey, I don't feel like being sympathetic towards Jacob Trouba, and I don't feel like making him a victim." There's so many different crazy parts about this, and even somebody else noted, like, if we're going to talk about it's a business for the NHL, New York Post, they ain't running a charity either, so it is expected they're going to do that headline. It is, in my opinion, unequivocally not good behavior. I would have gone with what I believe Olivia said, which was, you could have just said family is why Jacob Trouba is doing this. And then if people want to read the story, they could see, oh, interesting. Okay. But they put that information out there the way that they did. And everyone is going to put information out there the way that they do, such as ESPN asking the question, who will be the best rookie? Now, Peter, you have told me this is a since deleted post.
It is a since deleted Instagram post.
So on Instagram, ESPN put out a lengthy slideshow asking who would have the best rookie year. And you see among them, you got Caleb Williams, you got Macklin Celebrini, you've got Bronny James for some fucking reason. You got Jaden Daniels, a lot of people on there. Who else, Sean, is on there? Do you have it? Oh, you got Dean Letourneau. You got 25th overall NHL draft pick, who I believe the last 25th overall pick to play in the NHL the next season was David Pastrnak back a million years ago. Dean Letourneau, and the photo they used is Dean Letourneau standing next to Pete Blackburn. Sean, you had said someone from ESPN asked if they could use one of our pictures for a post they were doing?
Yep. That's the end of that story.
How was that asked? Is that straight up?
Exactly like that. They sent the picture and they said, can we use this for a social post? I asked you guys. We all said yes. And then that showed up on Instagram.
I didn't give it a second thought. I didn't guess what kind of post it would be. Didn't care.
Even if you had, would you ever have thought it was
not in a million years?
Not
in a million years. Unbelievable. The fact that was the only picture that was used as credited to anything other than a wire service. All of the other pictures are like Getty Images, and then there's so many ridiculous parts of this. Dean Letourneau, who is absolutely not playing for the Bruins next year. He's playing for the BC Eagles next year.
As a freshman.
The fact that he's included as a 25th overall pick, not TJ Ginla, nobody else, just Dean Letourneau, 25th overall pick, standing next to me using that picture, and they asked for permission. It's unbelievable. I can't believe that it happened, and I can't believe they deleted it 10 minutes later. I don't know. I want the oral history to how this post was made.
Do you think it was? I think it was taken down because of Bronny. Sean, what do you think?
No way.
No, it was definitely taken down because of that picture.
You think so?
Yeah, that being on there is ridiculous. I'm not going to name names. I love the ESPN intern that was in part responsible for this. But from a pure, we are a serious sports content thing, Dean Letourneau is the 540th possible rookie that should have shown up on this list. Bronny makes sense. It's like the Cowboys. You talk about the Cowboys no matter what, even if they're not good. And again, I have been on record. I think Bronny's going to be a good NBA player. I don't think it's that ridiculous. But It's 100% because of Dean Letourneau. That's there's no reason that should have ever shown up on there. And even if he was the first overall draft pick, putting that picture on there specifically is just a wild and hilarious move.
But the comments on it were all, and maybe this is what you want, but the comments on it were all brawny. So
That's
I
why
thought
they
that
included
maybe,
Bronny.
But
Bronny is a bigger name than any other rookie coming into sports right now.
100%. That's why I had no issue with them including Bronny. Is it like kind of insane as like a second round pick? Sure, but like it's LeBron James's son. I'm saying
they were getting smoked on there, and
who cares? That's
I know that they've taken things down before because they were just getting bullied so hard. So I thought maybe it was that, and that was going to make it funnier to me if like they ended up taking it down without ever realizing how insane it was that they included that. Like there were, I wasn't seeing a ton of hockey comments on there. Like I wasn't seeing any like no Demidov. Yeah. I should have just left that just straight up. Like I guess we're just forgetting about Caden Lindstrom. Cool
no,
guys.
None of the comments were about like me or anything. There was just like one
nothing
tag.
About hockey.
Yeah, no, it was just that to scroll through that list and see a bunch of people that, I mean, I guess it was, I guess a lot of the reaction would just be like, I don't know hockey, so I don't know this guy. But if you do know hockey and you see that guy, you're like, what the fuck? And then you see him standing next to me, and he's the only player in all of those graphics that is being measured by height and by frame of reference. It's unbelievable.
You know what? Maybe that's one of our next investigations. We've investigated whether or not Ariana Grande was hit by pucks as a kid at Panthers games. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube and watch that video. I've recently freshened up the thumbnail so it can do better. Maybe our next investigation is, how did that happen? How did this ESPN post happen? And really the main question, who was asking for this? And the left and the liberals wanted this. Find out who was asking for this. And did you see who the last slide was, Sean?
I don't remember who it was.
Final slide was Caitlin Clark. Oh. It was like, let's fuck around for 50 slides. Then, fuck, we'll give you a real one.
I made the reel before Caitlin Clark did.
That's right. You did. In fact, I mean, you made it before Dean Letourneau did.
That's
left
true.
to right.
I got to tell, the Bruins and Dean Letourneau have to love us. I think the Bruins are very down to fuck around with us. We love their content crew. So when we asked for that picture, they were all for it. But I think Dean Letourneau was like, who the fuck are these guys and why am I taking a picture with them? He was very nice about it. But I don't think that he ever imagined that taking a picture with us bozos would land him on ESPN's Instagram page before he even steps foot in a BC Eagles uniform.
Machine Gun Yanmark, great name, suggests maybe this was an Amazon thing. They know about they saw the news about Hotshot Pete starring in the Amazon NHL series, and they saw the slideshow come out, and Dan Skipper, I know he's not in charge anymore, got somebody on the horn and said, who sent this to press? That's Pete Blackburn. That's an Amazon guy. And everyone was like, oh my God, that's Pete Blackburn. Shit. We didn't know.
Fires and trash bins like in the office.
Yeah.
Just absolute pandemonium.
He's like, well, where, like, page 2 of your intern pamphlet is like faces to know. And it's like you, me, and Sean, Pasha, a few other people.
Pasha being on like the most wanted board at ESPN.
We can't run these guys. Blackburn's too hot. He's got his Amazon heat is too hot right now. Oh, Pasha's mean to people.
One thing we didn't even mention is that
he's an oil man. That's
confirmed that James Dolan facial recognition software does not have me flagged. Got into the sphere.
Yeah. So I stopped tweeting. I stopped making fun of the Sphere when we were there because I was like, I hope that. Yeah, I want to return at some point. Waiting for Angel Reese to elbow Pete in the face before the end of today's pod, says Mike. I think I know which Mike that is. Danger Suede says Dave Jackson, ESPN social media manager.
Yes. That's so good.
This summer, let's get Dave Jackson.
Oh boy, I don't know if
I don't want him for the regular season, but like let's get him for like a summer check-in. What's old DJ doing? Let's get DJ from the beach.
I don't think he's going to want to talk to us, specifically me.
I think he's going to want to talk to us. I don't think he's going to want to say anything.
Oh, that's a good point. He's just going to want to talk.
And then the next day, he'll give a good answer.
Yes. Did want to mention this before we move on. I don't think it's in the rundown. Apologies, but saw it right before we started the show. Nick Kyprios of Sportsnet, I believe, Real Kipper and Born, said that he believes the Maple Leafs are seriously considering stripping the C from John Tavares and giving it to Austin Matthews. I
don't really care, but I like it.
I like it. My problem with it would be they should have fucking done it before they released that Fanatics video. That incredible Fanatics video where they had Austin Matthews sitting down at a table, unboxing all these uniforms, and then at the end getting his own jersey, which is the exact same fucking jersey that he's worn for like 5-6 years. The payoff for that video was underwhelming because it had all the energy of presenting Austin Matthews with his new jersey, which would have the C on it. That would have been incredible had he unboxed that and found out that he was the new captain via that way. I think that it's the right move for the Maple Leafs to now turn it over from John Tavares to Austin Matthews. So I'm a fan of the move. I think that he's absolutely the captain of that team. John Tavares, shell of himself at this point. Let's just get it over with.
Yeah, I mean, mainly I just think that you had me at stripping the C. John Tavares can't be the captain of that team anymore. And if you're trying to... Everyone was saying when they got eliminated by Boston, like, seismic changes have to come. It's like, look at the layout of that team, man. What seismic changes are you making? You got 1 million guys making $55 million a year with no trades, and they're all good freaking players. You can ask yourself how many of them are great players, but like, what seismic changes can you make and are you going to make? Maybe Mitch Marner, and that's kind of it. Maybe you overpay for a couple of defensemen, and that's it. And that's what they end up doing. They end up overpaying for a couple of defensemen, but the changes that you make is you put a new coat of paint on it, and you do that by stripping the C, giving it to somebody else. I don't love giving the C to somebody who wore what Austin Matthews wore to the NHL awards, but I'd rather him be captain at this point than John Tavares. You give it a try. It a try.
It's like what the Sharks did when they kept the same core and they just kept passing the C around. Do you remember that? Like 3 different guys wore it. It was Marleau, it was Thornton, it was Joe Pavelski, and then I guess later Couture. But like basically all of the important players at the Sharks in that core, minus Brent Burns, wore the C at one point or another. They were just like, this one isn't working. Let's try it with somebody different.
We're going to wrap this up with the biggest piece of news, I would say, of the last 5 calendar years. This one goes out to our guy, the love of your life, Uri Slafkovsky, signing an 8-year, $60.8 million contract, average annual value of $7.6 million. Has the player ever scored 51 points in a season? No, but who cares? It's a great deal. It's fantastic. Uri is our guy because of the love of your life. And I guess this is just our gift to one of our core whatnots. We're talking about Uri Slafkovsky for even a second. Big new contract, 20 goals last year. That previous high of 4, and now he's locked in for 8 years. In all seriousness, this is a risky ass deal, but I kind of like it for my guys. I just want the Canadians to be relevant. I want them to be good. And if Uri can keep progressing, he's not going to be the player I'm about to mention, mainly because he plays a different position. But this does sort of remind me of the Leon Draisaitl contract, because at the time, huge second deals were kind of just starting to be handed out, but they were given to more established players, and it ended up being a huge win for the Oilers. So maybe that's what this ends up being.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big gamble, but so is waiting to see if he's a much better player, because if you find out that he's a much better player than what you've seen already, then you're going to be end up paying for a much better player. Like, I think this is a gamble worth taking, especially for the Canadians, because like, who else are the Canadians paying? You know, like,
Yeah.
Slafkovsky, they're banking their future essentially on him, Suzuki, like Cole Caulfield at this point. Demidov, yeah, that's true. But like Demidov, you can wait to pay too. So like, this is I think this is a gamble worth making. I like the strides that Slafkovsky took in his game. Obviously, pretty big guy. Like, I think he's going to be a very good player, and we just haven't seen him even come close to the ceiling yet. And I think this is a risk worth taking.
Slav chat. It felt good. Really good. Next season, maybe. You never know. We may pop up for episode 1, and you see a nice, crisp Fanatics Uri jersey hanging there. If we get a Canadians jersey, which I love Canadians jerseys.
Same, but I can't.
Do we go Uri or do we go Demidov?
Demidov.
Can't buy a jersey of a kid who's never worn it.
That's true.
Is this a rule, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, if you can't buy a Jeff Skinner Adidas jersey because he's never worn a Fanatics one, or he's never worn an Adidas jersey, you can't buy a jersey that a kid's just straight up never worn.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like Sheriff Sean weighing in.
I feel like that falls perfectly in line with the rest of our jersey logic.
Well, then what about? I'll ask you this: the Tage Thompson All-Star jersey that I wanted. Would that be bad behavior?
I think so. It's part of why I didn't get one, because he never actually wore it.
But that's why I wanted it, because it would have been fucking funny, and I love Tage Thompson.
That's a little different because he was still an All-Star, and
like the jersey was assigned to him.
Yeah,
right?
Like it's a little different. He would have had like a jersey number and everything, but like the guy's not even on the roster. He doesn't actually have a number from the team. You can't really get a jersey for him.
So as soon as Demidov signs his entry-level contract, we can get a Montreal Canadiens jersey of it.
All right, I like this. We'll wait till then, and then we'll get a Uri jersey.
Yes.
Gives us time.
I do like that I'm now actively invested in Uri Slafkovsky, not only just because I want the Canadians to be good, but also because the love of your life.
I like what they're doing. I like it for my guys. Stacy Fay gives a super chat and says, thank you for an incredible season. Machine Gun Yanmark notes that we met in Edmonton. Oh my God. If you had told me my name in the chat is Machine Gun Yanmark, I would have given you probably an even tighter hug than whatever I gave you. Oh, somebody said that there's a shop on TikTok selling Adidas Celebrini jerseys. Horrible behavior.
Wow.
Because that can't be real. That can't be right. That ain't right.
I wonder if they just bought like a bunch of Sharks jerseys on the Adidas clearance and are stitching Celebrini on the back and reselling. That would be bad behavior. Somebody said, oh, Lane Hudson to Montreal. Yes. Lane Hudson is my guy. BU guy. He rocks. Short King on the back end. I'm rooting very hard for Lane Hudson to be awesome.
The love of your life. I broke one of my core rules. I tried to call everybody they. Apparently, I tossed our guy or did something that gendered the love of your life. And while I know you are dicking around with me, I sincerely apologize, because that's not good behavior. So I'll say that's not good behavior. It's commonly done behavior by people who mean no harm, but we should all strive to be better. So that's where I fall on that. Our friend, the love of your life, is buying fake jerseys bad behavior if you can't afford authentic?
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
90% of my jersey collection is straight from Russia.
Russia, not even China?
Well, the website is from Russia. I guess I don't know where the jerseys actually come from.
Well, that might make it more authentic depending on which player you get.
That's true.
I do not have any Russians.
Is it a Blue Jackets cannon jersey? Because then it's probably good behavior.
No,
Yeah.
it is. I have a Teemu Selanne Ducks jersey, white road, purple and teal jersey.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I think that's my only fake hockey jersey. I have a handful of fake baseball jerseys.
That'll be
Especially because some of them are players that I like, but I'm never gonna spend like real money. I'm never gonna spend real money on a Houston Astros jersey. But spending $30 on a Tequila Sunrise Nolan Ryan Astros jersey makes sense.
Sean doesn't have to buy real jerseys. He just waits for us to do it at Pro Shop Wars.
I was just about to say.
I
Or
mean,
getting
I
into
don't
the teams.
wait for you guys, but
But we
guys
do
have
it anyway.
definitely increased my number of real jerseys.
Oh my
by
God,
about 500%.
I don't think we mentioned this, but during the Fanatics meeting that we had with Michael Rubin, who here in this room has more than 10 jerseys? And we were like in the past 2 months.
I think we
From
were the
this
only three
trip?
people. We were like three
We
of
were like
five people that raised our hand.
Our hands shot up very quickly, and I was kind of embarrassed by how quickly we shot up our hands. Our jersey collection, by the way, has got to be like the 40. We got like 40, 50 jerseys combined. There's a lot.
Yeah, maybe. And our jersey experience has always been different. I think that you wore jerseys more as a fan. I always just liked hockey jerseys as like the kind of old man look. And I did that going back to college even. I would like wear a hockey jersey not to be like gotta show out for the whatever team or whatever. I'd be like, oh, you know what? A hockey jersey would go nice with this look or whatever. And that's kind of always how I wore them. Now I'm just fucking buying them all for not even thinking, just probably because I'm kind of trying to fit in with you here. But it's so fun getting jerseys.
Yeah.
I remember in the NHL store picking between a Vegas Golden Knights jersey and a much more expensive McDavid Heritage Classic jersey, and Sean being like, you're deciding between a cool jersey and something that is actually like a piece art. Gotta get the McDavid. I love that McDavid so bad, and that's now I have like 66 Oilers jerseys.
I'm gonna put up some stuff on these walls in my office here, and I have one jersey frame that I'm gonna make like the centerpiece of the room. And I was trying to decide what jersey I was going to put in it. It ended up being a pretty easy decision. I'll let you guess, but it's once I reveal it, if you don't get it right, you're gonna be like, ah, yes.
Pete Blackburn, Chicago Blackhawks.
No,
That should hold a special. That should hold a special place in our
it
hearts.
should. Maybe if I get a second frame, that'll be the second one to go up. But truly, like the best part of the Blackhawks jersey is the front, like the great logo. Like,
But it's
anything
no,
you
it's
gotta
the
display
if you're
that.
framing a jersey, it's got to be something with sentimental value.
Well,
I feel like
frame
Sean's
it.
gonna agree with that.
I mean, it depends. If it's like really nice, like if the signed jersey or something like that, I guess that still would have some kind of sentimental value. But
I do agree that when you have a big jersey collection and you're choosing to display one of them, like it probably should have sentimental value. The one that I am going to frame does have sentimental value. It's just different.
Blackburn, Columbus Blue Jackets.
No, it's
I was
not.
going to say that
customized
one because you don't really have to worry about the front logo. All that
Piss
much.
jersey.
No, but that's a good one too. The Team North America white jersey, like I'm gonna frame that one. Got to do it.
That's a good one. I just checked
It'll
it
be
on the chat, and it's
it,
madness. I don't even know
it'll
what they're saying.
be the second coolest framed Team North America jersey to make an appearance on the show.
That's true. Yeah, Petey kind of kicking your
Petey's
ass there,
got
bud.
his signed
yeah, I know.
TNA jersey in the background.
I know it'll be like the second best framed Team North America jersey in the network, but it still means a lot to me, and I can't wear it. It's too big. Like the size that they sent is too big, so I may as well just fucking frame it.
A summer project is also for me to freshen up this backdrop, and I'm gonna take down. I get a lot of good comments, really only on the Ween poster and on the Kendrick Lamar poster, which are very nice. But don't sleep on that Dead & Co poster that I've got as well. But I'm going to reshuffle.
Harder to see from this distance in the shot. Like the details of that one, it's like you're like, what is that? You can tell that that's Kendrick. You can tell that that's Ween. You don't know for sure that that's a Grateful Dead Patriots fucking one. It's amazing.
It's very, very sick. It's very, very sick. But yeah, I'm going to redo this as well, just because I've got so much more stuff. I'd love to get, you could see just under one of my shoulders, the Zach Hyman incredible thing that you gave me. So I got a lot of shit that I got to try to fit in there. I might grab like an interior decorator or something to try to make it all make sense. But yeah, going to freshen that up. Might also sneak a jersey or two in there. I think it would be cool if I had like the Pete Blackhawks jersey hanging and you had the DJ Blackhawks jersey hanging.
Full DJ Bean on the back nameplate. Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
I am a little bit bummed while we're on home office talk that we are doing our last regular episode remote. It will not be our last episode of the summer. We have some summer content. We're going to pop in with occasional episodes. We will be back in studio for those. I presume like we're going to be working on the studio during the summer. So we will not be fully signing off for the summer. But like DJ said, this is like our cottage time, proverbial cottage time, because we're not making that money yet. But yeah, you'll be seeing us during the summer. It'll be more sporadic. It'll be weirder probably because we won't have consistent hockey stuff to talk about. But we're not out of your lives. That's for sure.
No, definitely not. And that's why I feel like we've chipped away at various like I love you things. But we always had that. Pete and I will have like week-long stretches where we'll just be more in love with each other than ever. Definitely, I feel had that leading up to. I feel like we all maybe had that. Sean, correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, I feel like Sean didn't, but it was during, let's say, like games 5 through game 7, where it just kind of seemed like this was happening, and it was like the season's going to end in 7 games, and the Oilers are going to force a game 7, and we're probably going to have to go, this is incredible, this is the coolest thing in the world, I love this so much. Sean, I feel like eventually at the end was like, yeah, but I don't want to fucking go to Florida.
And was I fucking wrong? Look what happened to us.
Jokes fair. On me.
The traveling was not ideal, and we all ended up sick. Like, the exact reasons why I didn't want to go all ended up being spot on.
But I'm so happy that we did. The experience was a great way to close out the season. We got to watch Game 7, and I was watching you, Sean, during Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. You were like, damn, it is sick that we are at Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final.
Again, if Game 7 wanted to be at Madison Square Garden, would have preferred that by a million. My problem was never going to Game 7. It was the coolest sporting event it was the coolest thing I've ever done. But
I'm
was not
so
thrilled
glad
about flying.
I'm so glad you did that. You did a great job documenting that. Pete and I also snapped some stuff on our phones. So coming soon, we will have the Edmonton vlog. Was so well received, and people said, how could this thing that you invented here is incredible. Could you apply this format? Could you apply this format, this recipe that you've got, your algorithm? Could you do this for other things? And Pete said, guys, we do it for Game 7. So coming soon, We're not going to do it like today or tomorrow because it's going to be 4th of July. And quite frankly, people are going to be off
U.S.
doing
4th of
whatever
July.
they do. U.S. 4th of July, I'm sorry. But coming soon on the What Chaos YouTube, hope everybody is subscribed, will be a Stanley Cup Game 7 vlog that will show a lot of the ups, a lot of the downs. I was peeping some of it just yesterday. There's an incredible shot in the third period. Sean is behind me, and you just see there's all these Panthers fans, and they're all so excited, but directly in front is just a hunched over, like white knuckling, white stew wearing me. And it's such a funny shot.
There's also a shot of after the third goal was scored. The third period go ahead goal was scored.
Second period.
Second period go ahead goal was scored. They pan over to you. Sean pans over to you, and like you're just wearing it like you know the Oilers are losing that game, and then I'm in the background just like, oh no, like my friend's about to have his heart ripped out and stomped on.
I don't know if we ended up saying much about it, but like we watched Game 7 in a suite with Panthers fans who were so nice and so cool to us. In fact, the only reason I was wearing the Stu jersey was I went into it just dressed incognito, and we were like, oh, well, TJ does have a Stuart Skinner jersey. And they were like, go get it. Like, support who you want to support. Hope you fucking feel like an asshole for wearing it. And like hope that it ends up horrible for you, but wear it. So it was great. Like we had obviously a terrible experience. That moment, watching that back, watching my reaction to that Sam Reinhart goal, I'll never get over it. It was such a fucking bad play by a player who has meant so much to me this entire season. But it is what it is. But it'll be cool. You'll get to see what we were doing and how we were taking it in. Sean grabbed some great stuff. We were down on the ice after. So hopefully it all ends up really, really great. It will. And that'll be up on the YouTube in the coming days. So you can check that out. And other than that, we will be back.
Eric Ripperson says, I found brunch while looking for hockey podcasts. Incredible that these two turned into one just for me. On that note, we will, I think, be doing some movie content this summer as well. So I don't know about brunch. We still have to talk about that and what's going on there. We'll hammer out a plan. But brunch like brunch parallel, whatever you want to call it.
Probably. Like, here's the fucking thing.
Content going to come out during the summer.
Here's the fucking thing. We are varying levels of workaholic. It's not good behavior, but we know each other and our stupid brains well enough that this shouldn't be the case. But I've said all along, I said, I'm gonna get 2 days of rest, and then I'm gonna be like, okay, what are we fucking making next? And that's not good behavior, but it's all to say we're gonna keep making shit. Like, this isn't like all right, fucking see ya. There's gonna be times during the summer where either we'll be away or whatever, or just living life, or like we're probably not gonna be the absentee type. So you know where to find us. It'll probably be in the same place wherever it is. But
brunch adjacent was the word that I was looking for. So thank you, Stacy.
Yeah, shit like that. A person came up to me on the street after Game 4, by the way, in Edmonton, and was like, hey, thank you so much for finally doing a hockey podcast. I always wanted you and Pete to do a hockey podcast, so I listened to Brunch. And I knew it wasn't going to be a hockey podcast, but I just liked you two so much and the shit and like the vibe that you have. So like, it's a dream come true for me that you guys are finally doing it. And
that was probably Eric Ripperson. Honestly,
maybe
sounds exactly like the message that he just left.
Maybe is Eric Ripperson an oil man? I'll say though, there were so many people, and maybe it was Eric Ripperson. There are there were so many people in Edmonton who knew about our show that I felt like we dropped the ball by not having like an event in Edmonton. That's a goal for next season, by the way. Doing more events, doing stuff, finding places where people actually will take our stuff and doing it for them. But that's what the summer is for. Planning, scheming, making vlogs about Game 7. Pete, if you would you? Emily says,
Like Spike
DJ
for the
says
road?
YouTube like my mom.
YouTube.
What the fuck does that mean? YouTube? YouTube?
YouTube.
Fuck.
You do have quite the long ooh sound.
YouTube. Well, no, that's just because I'm fucking Canadian. Let's not be
YouTube.
Let's not-
YouTube. By the way, I started watching Shoresy. A 3 episode level resistance. By the 3rd episode, I was like, this is the funniest show in the world.
So it's got a loading phase.
It has a loading phase. It is fucking hilarious. And I don't know if it was like the 3 edibles that I took last night or in like the COVID that maybe got to my mind. But I was watching Shoresy and I was laughing like a fucking maniac. I think that you would like it, DJ.
I think I would too. Whenever I've watched Letterkenny, I've liked it, but I just haven't stuck to it because I watch a few episodes and then I'm like, hey, Pete and I should do a video about whatever. And then I obsess about that for a week instead. How do I say, I don't say the YouTube. Oh, no, I'll say like, we'll throw it on the YouTube, meaning like our YouTube channel. Fair play.
I think it's fair. Yeah, yes.
No, I mean, like, it's fair for me to say that, but it's also fair to say you sound like an old person when you say the YouTube. So, as usual, Emily, bang on. What Chaos Oilers Nation collab party in Edmonton next season? Zach, my guy, love to see you in here. As far as I'm concerned, obviously, that would be incredible. But Zach, like, do you agree if What Chaos during those days were like, hey, we're going to pop, not at Greta because that's your space, but if we were like, I was going to say Boston Pizza, but that's also your space. But if we were like, hey, What Chaos is doing an event at whatever, people would go. I'm really not blowing smoke. People would go. There was enough attention just for stupid old me that if Sean and Pete were also there, oh my gosh, we would have been able to do some stuff. Let's see.
Before we get out of here, please hit the like button. It is the thumbs up right below the video player. Very much appreciate that if you all hit it at the same time. It's what we call a like spike. It's the last like spike of the regularly scheduled programming, so it means a lot to us if you can get those numbers as high as you possibly can. Hopefully Jimbo's still in here and he didn't miss it. So please hammer that like button, and if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, do that as well. We love you.
All right, thank you very much, folks. Sean, any final words to put you on the spot?
Well, Olivia's in the chat. I don't know.
Oh, talking about Jessica Campbell becoming
oh yeah, assistant coach.
It's
first
I think
woman to hold the full-time assistant coaching role.
So I think that is that officially official? That was certainly coming, but is that officially official? Awesome. The Ultimate Hockey is for Everyone podcast gets to get out of their first season on some great news. Jessica Campbell, who is very, very highly regarded on Dan Bilesma's staff, that rocks. That's cool shit.
Yep, that is that's very, very exciting. I don't think that it was like, for last I heard, it wasn't like an absolute,
because there was talk that she would
take over in the AHL.
Right.
Yeah. So,
and I know that like Chris Knobloch was a big no, I'm not going to join the NHL staff because I'm going to keep being a head coach kind of guy.
Right. Yes, Olivia in the chat. She's the first full-time woman in the NHL. The first full-time woman. We've done it.
Number one place for supporting women, says the chat. So Zach, by the way, confirms we would fill a bar for sure.
Love that.
For sure.
It's very vague. It could be a tiny ass bar, but we'd fill it. Love it. Asses and seats. Thank you everybody for an incredible season 1. Could not ask for anything better. Could not ask for anything more. except for more YouTube subscriptions.
Yeah,
so
just
hammer
keep
that button.
hammering the YouTube thing. And as we post, who knows? Maybe as we post stuff on the YouTube, fuck, there I go again. We'll just be a big summer YouTube increasing subscriber situation. Who knows? Crazier things have happened. But thanks to everybody. Thanks to all of our friends, the chat, all y'all, guests. We'll be back soon. But for now, we go to the cottage for a second. Love everybody. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.